before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is AJ and I'm the Mustachio. Joined together with me, the one and only Contra. This is the ESL Mobile Recap and the very first show. What are we doing here, Contra?
Well, of course, we're going to be highlighting some of the best plays in the ESL Mobile Open. And there's so many of these titles, and we'll be keeping you up to speed with every single one of that. And that's not all. You guys can participate in the ESL Mobile Open. How do you do so? Of course, check out this video to find out more.
Welcome to ESL Mobile, the home of mobile esports. ESL Mobile is a global program designed to give you an opportunity to compete in your favorite mobile games, featuring multiple game titles taking place in 3 regions and offering 2 levels of competition. There's something here for everyone. ESL Mobile Open is the gateway to competitive play, free to join and open to any resident of our supported regions. This is the best way for you to enjoy the thrill of victory and take your shot at winning cash prizes. Each season of Mobile Open will consist of 2 ladders, and the top competitors from each will qualify for the Mobile Open play-ins. ESL Mobile Challenge is your path to glory. If you are a top competitor in the Mobile Open play-ins, you will earn a spot in the Mobile Challenge season. The top team from each ladder will skip the play-ins and qualify directly for the Mobile Challenge season. This is where you'll have the chance to compete against the best players in your region. At the end of each season, top Mobile Challenge players will compete in the Mobile Challenge Finals to determine a winner and be crowned their region's champion. ESL Mobile is for everyone. This is your opportunity to join a diverse and growing community of players across the world and see just how far you can go.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's exactly how you now get to be a pro yourself. And it's really interesting why ESL has come up with this, right? Because if you take a quick look, Contra, as to how the esports world, as well as, tournaments used to be run in the past, it always used to be about those pro players, those big brands getting in there and getting things done, right? But ESL, with the whole mobile gaming coming into the scene now, they want to make these tournaments more available to everyone, and hence why we've got our Mobile Open. And to enter, it's just so easy. They need to climb a ladder now, don't they?
Exactly, and I definitely throw back in the past where, when people were playing in arcades, and of course things have evolved since then. Yeah. So the road to become pro has to start somewhere, and there's a lot of questions like, okay, where do we start? This is how we do it. You can gather your friends or, people that you met online and just participate. And speaking of which, how it works is that you'll be joining in some ladder and, well, check this out.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark. No fear, getting ready for the ride. Yeah, stepping into the light. No limit, aim high. No limit, the price is mine.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level. That's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me.
And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That's exactly how you climb up that ladder. Now, not necessarily open to only amateur squads, because you guys better be watching out, because when we talk about the ESL Mobile Open, anybody can sign up, which means pro squads can sign up as well, Contra. But now what I am looking forward to specifically is for that amateur squad, a bunch of friends who get together, who join the ESL Mobile Open and take on these pro squads and tap out and send them back home. That's what I'm looking forward to, my man.
That's right. And speaking of which, there are also so many of these players that hope to meet their idols of the esports scene.
Yes.
This is one way to go, and with that you can sign up with your friends, and hopefully you'll be paired up with some of the esports icon that's already in the scene. Now, speaking of mobile esports, yes, it is pretty much huge in the Asia Pacific region.
Yeah.
I've got so many titles here and even new ones to join alongside the scene. And speaking of which, we'll definitely build up the momentum here, because the first game that we will talk about here is going to be Asphalt 9.
And it's all about the speed as well as the technical abilities. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Asphalt 9 literally crossed the 1 billionth download recently, which is just absolutely tremendous for any brand, right?
I gotta say that is an astounding number out there, and just looking at it right here, that it definitely takes a whole lot of effort just to maneuver the vehicle perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely, man, because in Asphalt, right, it is a game that a 2-year-old can pick up, and I know this because my 2-year-old niece literally plays Asphalt 9 Legends. A 2-year-old can pick up this game and be able to start and end that race and also finish in that #1 spot. But if you want to become a pro, if you want to join the ESL Mobile Open, just knowing the game is not enough. You need to know each and every nook and cranny, shortcuts, each of these ramps for those 360 as well as barrel roll opportunities, because knowing when to use what sort of nitrous, knowing when to hit those brakes, knowing when to take those turns, Contra, makes all the difference. It's the millisecond gameplay when it comes to Asphalt.
That's right, and that run itself took less than 1 minute. So we're going to be looking at some of the top contenders here currently at the ladder, and boy oh boy, there's so many notable names that's going to be pretty much going up onto the circuit, and I really wonder, when it comes down to the top of the ladder competing against one another, how does that actually look like?
Oh, crazy competitive right now. For all of you who don't know, these ladders are split between iOS as well as Android. Okay, when you guys are, using an Android device, you will only be able to compete against other players who use that Android device. So hence why we have 2 separate ladders. Now, if you look at our ladders, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you will be able to see that the top 10, they are not separated by seconds, Contra, but by milliseconds.
That's right, and speaking of milliseconds here, on the Android ladder itself, it will be RCM1 that will be topping the charts there, and I do believe that he has clocked in about 57 seconds, 0.952. So, yep, that's pretty much less than a minute, like I said, and can anybody actually top this record as of the moment, because this is the best one for the Android scene, as he's currently on the top 1 of Asia Pacific.
And I believe in the iOS scene, it is Anoni X with about 1 second faster than the top speed of Android, right? And that's exactly how competitive it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. 57.872 seconds. Contra.
Well, I gotta say that comes really close, but imagine if you were to be on the real circuit, whether it's gonna be whichever scene it's gonna be, right? So every second counts. Like, once that camera snaps, once you cross that finishing line, you're gonna be facing neck to neck competitors out there, and same goes to Asphalt 9. So with that, kudos to the two mentioned players on each one of these players, and we'll be moving along to our next title, Brawl Stars.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we're
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
back against the wall. Still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball. I got my fan with me. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's all we know when we level up. Level up.
All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
I wonder how this looks, Contra. A mustachioed man with a little fluffy I swear this teddy is so freaking fluffy.
Well, I definitely think it fits you, so maybe you can actually bring it back home.
I just might. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Brawl Stars is the lineup that we have for you right next, right? And this game has been taking the mobile scene by storm recently, Contra.
That's right, we've been seeing quite a number of players growing every single year, and it's not stopping anytime soon. And I believe like months back we've crowned ourselves the world champion. So there's so much to talk about Brawl Stars, and of course being on the mobile platform it's been so accessible for all the other players to get into. But what does it really take to become a pro? Let's actually have a look at the ladder right now to check out what goes on. And over on top we have Jupiter, of course, coming off with an undefeated streak. And as we go down the list, there are so many of all these notable names that has been able to clock in some of all these great points out there. But for the side of Jupiter, they did get a lot more games going in, as there are even teams that has gone undefeated.
Yeah, exactly right. Kicks was really good as well, together with Brio, ladies, German boys and girls. But you know, the number one spot is obviously for that number one squad. 10-0. I think that's quite a great record to maintain so far. Undefeated so far. Maybe they might even become the champions.
Well, hopefully so. We definitely want to see some of the action as well. Let's actually have a look at our very first map, as we'll be kickstarting here with a little bit of action. As we can see, a little bit of a hot take coming in, as we have members from the side of
wow!
Alien.
And that was the shot by Toxic that just changed the game around. Kamashi came through with that support as well, but Asher Kid just went in for that slay. They just could not take them down no matter what they tried, Contra.
Exactly, and you can see a really great control coming from inside of Ash Kid. He gets a double across, and there's no way and no chance for any of the members of Black Stallion to move right in. Yes, they play around the brushes or the bush, and even with a little bit of pressure in, the capture ring zone is not going to be held for way too long due to Asphalt that has been able to just hold them out all across. So great control, and I want to see what can Kick still bring to the table.
I think they can continuously kick their opponents off the table. I mean, if you want to be serious about it, right? Because it's all about the defensive gameplay when it comes to Brawl Stars. Yes, you can get a little bit aggressive, but you cannot get aggressive if you just don't have that backup from your squad. And I think Kicks showed that perfectly, because when they were playing their defensive positions, although they weren't just sticking together really close by, whenever they needed it, that backup was always there, Contra, just to make sure they maintain that lead. And that's exactly what those other squads need to be looking to emulate as well.
Exactly, and I believe that we're going to be looking at our second map as well, because that was the kickstart of what Kicks can offer. So heading in towards our second matchup here, we still see a total obliteration from the rest of the members of Kicks, as they have already established a real great mid control. And even Hyperion, who tries to actually land a couple of shots from quite far, but there's already so many of all these spots that has already been occupied by the members of Kicks.
Yeah, and this, for anyone who did not catch the match, this is going to be a spoiler for you. Yes, that was their second win in a row, right? They were really on a roll there, Contra.
Exactly, and with that, it was a very straightforward showdown coming in, and Kicks came up on top. So we'll be moving along to another matchup as well, as we will be looking at Royale as well as Rise Esports.
And as they went through the match here, it was a very simple matchup right now. Riot took the fight to Rise, and no matter what they tried, no matter how much they went in there for that push, they found out the very, very hard way that it's not going to be very easy to rise up against those champions from Rise, right? But Riot, no matter what, they chose to never, ever give up. And that tenacity, that sure, opportunity and the opportunistic, status of that squad itself, as they proved themselves in each and every single one of those matches, they didn't go down, man. They didn't back away, no matter what.
Exactly, and we definitely saw in that clip itself, it went down to the wire. It was quite a hot contest on that hot zone itself, but with that, I believe that they've applied just about enough pressure, and we'll be moving along to our second map itself, and we'll see how will they fare for the other game. And I've heard news that even for Byro, they have been able to just dunk out your opponents, as you can see from your screen. Uncle just had to make a run for his life, and well, with that, it was just a whole lot of an easy gem collection all across.
Yeah, and David did try to go in there for the sweep, right? And Liu almost got it, but Ryu, no matter... It's just like what I said earlier, right, Contra? No matter what they try, no matter who tries to go up against them, Ryu just annihilates and shuts. Teamwork, the gameplay that comes in from these squads that have been proving themselves so far has been absolutely tremendous. But we will bring you back into group number 2, right? Because it was once again Kicks in the highlight, but this time for a different reason, because we saw some sort of an upset towards the very end, Contra.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to actually check it out. But, it's been pretty much exciting clips that we are looking at, as we'll be getting even more deeper into action here. And, of course, right after this, we'll be moving along to another title. And, of course, things will get a little bit more guns blazing as we move to PUBG Mobile.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
back against the wall. Still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball. I got my fan with me. That's all we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Well, guess what time it is? It is time for a feast. And speaking of a feast, we got a whole lot of chicken dinners for all of you guys who are tuning in right now, because we're moving along to PUBG Mobile, and there's so many of these spectacular chicken dinners that has been achieved by the teams that have been playing in the ESL Mobile Open for the Asia Pacific region. So to kick things off, of course, we do have all these teams segregated into different groups to be playing it out, and they will be using the usual format. Of course, winner chicken dinner offers them with the most points, and for different positioning, they will receive least points. And how the format works is that each kill will also reward with 1 point. So it's about an accumulation of points over a span of rounds. So the rounds being set this time around, it's going to be 5 rounds. So let's have a look in the ladder at the moment for our top 16 teams. And speaking of which, here on the top of the ladder is going to be Blacklist International, hailing from the Philippines, as they garnered a total of a massive 110 points with a total of 49 kills in total. So UPET Esports comes in pretty closely with 96, as they tied the scores in terms of kills. It was just maybe a little bit short of the positioning points that they have garnered. And what I've heard from our producer, of course, is that Blacklist International, they've got an amazing double chicken dinner throughout their rounds, and Intense G has also been able to get pretty close by with 95 points. And Zero Forgiven here will be walking with a total of 92, tying with Onyx Esports, another team hailing from the PMPL Indonesia region here that has been competing. As much as they got a lot of points coming out of positioning, they don't exactly have the amount of kills to actually prove. But, of course, top 5 position is not too shabby after all. We got the MS Crew with 84, 77 for Team Excelsior, as well as Top Guns making it the top 8.
You know, even though Onyx is sitting down in the 5th position, Contra, I have to say that, you know, this week, to me personally, they were the most impressive team. And not because of the fact that they went in there and they just gave it their all. It's because of the way they took their fights, right? Nothing can take them down. Obviously, the scoreboard would argue otherwise, you know, and Blacklist International would laugh at the Mustachio as well for saying that. But just give them a little bit of time, and I think these guys can just catch up, because, you know, hailing in from Indonesia, these guys, given the right opportunity, can blaze all the way through.
That's right, we're going to be looking at some of the highlights as well right after this as we go down the ladder. There's going to be from 9th to 16th position as we conclude the top 16, as we are going to be looking at Vengeance Team Puyat. I'm pretty familiar with them as well, as they've played before in the PMCO Wildcard SCA region, garnering a total of 74 points here, alongside UTG International with 67, 65 for Raftel Jasper. Say Assassin Esports coming in 12th position. Lamfoon Teraton comes out with 61, 60 for Demigod Incognito. Hey, that's a special tap for them. Well, WSWX at Esports, wow, that's a mouthful, coming in with 58 points. And last but not least, we have a Malaysian team here coming at ESDK Ruvians with a total of 57, just squeezing by, making it to the top 16.
Climbing up the ladder, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. We've already explained the formats to you. You know how to climb the ladders. These guys have already gotten it done. What are you waiting for? Make sure you head over to esl.gg/mobile to check out all of those dates. If you don't remember, you can rewind this video as well and check out those dates. We'll play it for you a little bit later as well, okay? When you sign up, you can get to this stage as well. You can be as famous or maybe even more famous than them. For all you know, you will as Blacklist International and taking that name and title for yourself.
That's right, and we're going to be taking a little bit of a short break, and when we come back, we'll get a little bit of a lowdown there. Well, I guess looks to me that we're not really going to take a pause, are we?
Not yet, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, not yet. So, yeah, let's take a quick look at those games, Contra, and see exactly what went down.
And over here, we do see TG Newbie getting some long shots in with a beautiful spray coming out of VP28. And from afar, we also have Soja right here that gets clipped off without really knowing. And TG definitely had some really stellar highlights, especially spraying on it 6 times. And once Onyx get their hands on the loot crate, you know they will tear out the competition there. And this was a really interesting chicken dinner because of the fashion of how you actually acquired it. Like, it was so close combat, and he just went into prone just next to his opponent.
Yeah.
And somehow he got it.
Some might say that's a fluke, but you know, at the end of the day, it's all about positioning, right? It's all about anticipating exactly when your opponent is about to attack, and whoever who reacts faster, whoever who reacts first, most of the time gets the win. And that some might argue was maybe not a well-deserved chicken dinner, because on to round 2, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, they actually went on to prove themselves yet again.
And over here, we do have the side of NT having Magma tearing them down, and at the very end, it was an Onyx Esports showdown once more in Group 2 inside Miramar. As you can see how hectic it was on the outskirts of Los Leones, and that's where Demigod, they got pinned down across these valleys, and QB didn't really give them any room to rest, tossing in all these Molotovs and all the grenades just to flush them out.
And at that point, right, they had already had a chokehold on the player within that house, right? They could have gone in for the storm. They didn't. One small mistake, Onyx took that winner chicken dinner all over again, Contra. Now you understand why I say these guys have been so impressive this week.
That's right, and I do believe that Blacklist International will also say anything you can do, I could do better. So with that, let's have a look at some of these clips coming from Blacklist International. So, of course, there's a lot of all the Filipino viewers that will be very proud of their feat right here, as inside Miramar in round 2, this is where they get a little bit of a high ground at the very final few moments here on phase number 7. And as much as they were only 2 members, they've already secured a total of 7 kills, and many of the rest of the players will have to push upwards.
This is a mistake made, and at that one point, that was all over. Blacklist International, they go in so methodically shutting down their opponents, right? And obviously squads like Onyx, they know this and they want to take it up against them. The one thing about Blacklist International is that no matter what you try to do to figure out their gameplay, they come back into the next match with something totally different. You can never seem to catch them off guard.
And exactly, I do have a fun fact. I did meet a couple of all these boys back in the days when they were playing the PMCO Southeast Asia League stage. So a couple of notable names such as Aeons as was Alas. So kudos to them. You guys are champs after all. Now we're going to be looking at another clip. Dominant they were. So let's find out. We've already covered Miramar. Let's head over to Arangel. And over here you see Nate's been lobbed at, and just look at the positioning. They were having a real good control. Pretty much half their map being conquered. As much as they're not within the next upcoming phase, they slowly crawled through and went in for some of the pickoffs. And by the time it was only 1 enemy left, you know Blacklist will just shut them out.
Exactly right, and such an open area. What we need to note is the way Blacklist International spreads out and make sure they creep in ever so closer, little by little, just closing that gap, just closing the distance between themselves as well as their opponents, and that creep up towards them just shut that game out. And this is exactly what all of those other players need to fear, Contra. Such a maneuver coming in from a squad. Then again, yes, one could say that, hey, they had the man advantage. But that's exactly what Blacklist International is all about, getting to that final circle with a full squad, because that's how good they are.
That's right. It's definitely not easy, especially when you go in for, a 4-man queue, and then you drop into, say, Erangel.
Yeah.
Like, you get yourself into Pochinki, and there's another 5 teams that joins alongside if you're unlucky. So when it comes down to the competitive scene, usually they will have their landmarks to actually start things off, and making past all the other teams, whether it's veterans, amateurs, or even pro, is not going to be easy. Now, of course, we're going to be heading in towards the third game here for the side of Onyx Esports as we elaborate even further.
Yeah. And this is the part where Onyx wanted to go in for yet another win, right? Because they were on a run, and they were on an extremely impressive run. But it was DMS at the end of the day that stopped them in their tracks, preventing a winner chicken dinner within that day itself to snatch one for themselves. And the way they did it, though, absolutely impressive, Contra.
Yeah, I gotta say, very good use of the utilities as well, and this push uphill inside of Sanok is definitely pretty tough, and you saw all these angles coming from the rooftop looking upon the side of boot camp, and that shot was absolutely sublime. And DMS, they just took over this entirety of the hill, and of course took out Onyx, which was actually the top contender. And imagine this, right? If Onyx wasn't taken out, there's a chance that they might actually get more points as compared to Blacklist International.
Well, that's why I said, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look out for Onyx, right? Because you never know when they might creep up. But that's just been week 1, Contra. Many things can change in week 2, right? But round 4, when it came in there, something hilarious broke out, didn't it?
All right, I'm not going to explain too soon, as we have seen pretty much everybody hopping on towards the same UAZ, and for some reason,
I mean, sometimes you need to ride along with your enemy.
True. And of course, eventually they'll be good friends. And this is quite a number of long snipes here, and there are times where even the circle don't really favor. We saw many of all these players dropping out initially, and INT, they still managed to find a way to, of course, clutch out the situation in the really tense battle where it's down to flatlands, and they will have to rely on many of these smokes to survive. So with a little bit more of a members advantage, they have been able to overcome a whole lot of all the other pressure that's coming across the tiny little circle. So we covered majority of the action here coming in PUBG Mobile.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And what do we have next for you? Not all the end yet. Round number 5.
That's right. Let's check out round number 5 right here. And we did see a little bit of shots coming in inside Los Leones, as well as UPET Esports will secure their first ever winner chicken dinner with this beautiful flank coming in from multiple angles, as you can see, oozing out of UPET Esports.
But that confidence isn't enough, is it? They need a little bit more consistency. The mustachio can't even say consistency consistently.
That's right. Imagine how hard it is in the game.
I know, right? But they need that consistency, right? Because if they can hit that stride, they can be a squad that may be feared within the competition. But I just don't see that sort of a shine from them just yet. Hopefully, in week number 2, things change up a little for them.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be looking for what's to come in week 2. So, we're going to be seeing what's next in the program, I believe.
Well, survival, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the play of the week coming in from ZFG Spooky, right? And you see, this guy, unrail ability. In such a small corner here, in this house, so easy to take down. Why? A couple of nades in, and ZFG Spooky's gone, right? But look at how he holds his ground here, Contra, and nobody come close to this guy. Yes, at the end, he does lose his life. He does get shut down. But before he gets taken down, the sort of damage that he deals, the sort of, annihilation he brought forth to his competition, super duper impressive.
And note for the fact that there were also shots being sent from above the hills, and he has managed to find a little bit of an escape coming in from the window pane. And as much as there's so much pressure on the line, he's been able to bring not only one, but also two before crashing out of the competition. So Spooky, of course, making sure that, you know, if you're going down, you're coming with me.
Yeah, and
I'm going down, you're coming with me.
That's
The other
two
way.
just at the end. There was 5 in total from that house just before he died. From the moment he stepped in to the moment he got taken out of that game. Crazy impressive. Cannot wait to see what we have for week 2.
That's right. I believe there's going to be a whole lot more clutch plays coming from PUBG Mobile. So that will conclude the PUBG Mobile clips that we do have. And we're going to be going on a short break. And when we come back, we got to talk about a whole lot more mobile games here in the ESL Mobile Open Asia Pacific.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the wait's up. That's how we know when we level up. Hey, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up. Level up.
Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. It's time, get up.
Welcome back once again. My name's Contra. This is the Mustachio AJ as we give you all the breakdown of what happened within the week, of course, for the ESL Mobile Open Asia Pacific. Now, we've already talked about a couple of all these games, but one of the games that I'm most hyped up for the entirety of 2021 is none other than League of Legends Wild Rift. So we've got pretty much the Sea Icon series on our way, and we are going to be focusing on towards the MY region. That's going to be Malaysia, and we have already secured a total of top 8 teams to be contending in the group stages. So how did they qualify? They had to take down many of these up-and-coming teams, and we've already got them pretty much locked and loaded. Let's start off here as we head in towards Qualifier 1.
Yep, and this qualifier, right, Contra, walk us through that, right? Because so many a times these squads kept coming back to this qualifiers because that's how the ESL Mobile Open is set up, right? And as Soda took Homie on, things went crazy, man.
Exactly, and you can see some of these team fights were pretty much well coordinated by Todak initially, as much as they were having a little bit of a trouble at first, but just look at how the likes of Homie has been able to turn the tides, especially over on towards some of these river fights. And speaking of river fights, that beautiful solar flare coming out of the Leona, absolutely sublime. And, you know, Homie caused a big upset because Todak is a household name in Malaysia.
I know, right? And towards the very end, well, we won't spoil it just yet, right? Because we've got the other qualifiers. Some of you might not have got, you know, the Mobile Open this week, so we won't spoil it for you just yet as the, you know, the recaps come through. But as we go into game number 2, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, when Toda took Homie on again, this is what happened.
Man, just look at this Alistar just being pretty much a beefy unit, going with the headbutt pulverize, and that's where the dunk comes in with the Nox and Guillotine slamming out one another. And with this, just focus on towards this Drake fight as Todak has been able to snatch this Drake off. And yet again, well, I gotta say that fight itself looked a little bit messy, but then again, it was still the likes of Homie that has been able to come up on top with this Baron still, and of course a triple coming out from that Ezreal. So this is where a lot of fans out there that was cheering on towards Todak, of course, were stunned.
Yeah.
After all, because Homie is a brand new team, but yet again, I can tell you otherwise, because when it comes down to each one of these players, there's veterans on both ends who used to play on the PC counterpart, and now this gives them a little bit more chance to come back into the scene, and of course more. So from the likes of Homie, I believe that they've also competed in other multiple titles, and now venturing in towards the Wild Rift scene, they start off strong, and I want to see a lot more.
And this is what we're talking about, right? The ESL Mobile Open allows you to do it. You don't need to be a veteran pro team in the scene to come in here and compete. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, match number 3. As we check out the recap, it was a match between Dota and Homie as well, of course, for the qualifiers number 1. And Dota manages to pull one back, Contra.
That's right, and you got to really keep an eye out on how some of the players just maneuvered. And Sakit, I know him as a team captain back in the days when he was still playing in this team called Format, and he's a real strong player, and now he's playing the support role. And Jana in the competitive scene is very, very useful. Once she pops open the Monsoon, and imagine the redemption comes right in, boy, it's so hard to just keep her out or even land any crowd control on her.
Yeah, and in the hands of Sakit, bro. And for all of you who don't know what Sakit means, that means pain, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And he brings the pain. And Dota managing to pull one match back, but did they manage to take 2 more right after? Because it was the best of 5 between them, Contra.
Indeed, and we're going to be looking at the game 4 just to witness how did some of these teams fare. And unfortunately, the answer is no. Todak, they got crushed with Zen here playing spectacularly, getting that Noxaguillotine and flashes over the wall for that perfect double kill. And especially as they landed a beautiful stun on top of some of the members of Homie, you can see that eventually they have too much pressure to just break apart the defense of Todak. So, you know, Todak in Malay, it means swordfishes, and of course, this time around, it's the Homies that fish them now from the sea.
They had some grilled fish for sure. And like you mentioned earlier, right, Contra, the whole of the Malaysian scene, they were shocked because Dota is such a huge household name when it comes to the League of Legends Wild Rift scene, right? And to see them not be able to take Homie out of the equation would have been really, really painful for both Dota as well as their fans. But they, of course, went in to kick things up yet again. I don't think, you know, things went really, really well for them this particular season itself.
Well, the beauty about this is that there's still going to be an ecosystem for the Wild Rift esports side, so hopefully we'll be able to actually seeing Todak in the future. So we're going to be moving along as we'll be checking out another 2 hot teams that have been contesting in the qualifiers number 2.
Well, the Giant Dragons as well as RTZ Underrank. And I have to say, right, RTZ Underrank was super duper impressive. But dude, it's the Giant Dragon.
Exactly, and we saw a beautiful Hexic ultimatum earlier on, and this Camille has been receiving quite a number of ban rate. And if you give it to Bajara Dragons, you know it's going to be a smackdown. And, well, we've got Tainted Ones coming in with a beautiful setup, as well as a great Glacial Fisher coming out of BJD's very own Chili. And Chili is a very interesting figure, you see. So, of course, I know his elder brother very well, and he's been playing in the scene for, well, more than 5 years, I do believe.
Donkey number of years now, yeah.
Donkey number of years, you may call it, and he came from the PC scene. He was part of the Bajara Dragons lineup at first. He moved to a coaching role, and now this guy, from that coaching role, into a Wild Rift pro player.
Well, and game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Did Bajaya Dragons lose their cool? Did RTZ Underrank rise up and take 1 point away from them, Contra?
Man, this game, it really went down to the wire, and you got to keep an eye on Zizune as well because he secured himself the Akali, going in with the perfect execution, and he walks away with a slither of health as you look through the screen. And what can RTZ Crown do, as he was only a Darius? And, well, the Dragons have knocked on the doors, and, well,
when a dragon knocks on your door, my friend, you don't answer the door. And I think RTZ found that out the really, really hard way, right? Because they lost their nexus when they opened up the door. And they moved into game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hoping and praying to take 1 point back. It didn't happen in game number 2. In game number 3, do you think it happened? Well, Contra,
well,
tell them what happened, my friend.
Well, just wait and see, because there were many of these big plays. Of course, it started off with the contest over Rip Harold, and just look at Tainted Ones. This guy is so hard to take out, and a whole lot of times now in Wild Rift, of course, many of the champions are slowly being released patch by patch. Wukong being played in the jungle has been exceptionally strong as well. Like, his clear speed's good, and the most important part, when he actually lands the Cyclone, you can almost disable the whole enemy backlines as well as the front line. So keep an eye out for the side of Bajara Dragons, as they will be one of the top contenders, and they've been eyeing out for a title for quite some time, as Geek Fam has been their biggest rivals.
Absolutely right. And quite honestly, Bajaya Dragons, nobody even expected them to drop 1 point, and they lived up to that expectation. Geek Fam, when they took on Sem9 on the other hand, Sem9 did not give them an easy game at all, Contra.
That's right, and note for the fact that both sides have pretty notable names, like ex-players from Kuala Lumpur Hunters, and back in the days, if I were to tell you this long story, they used to be teammates, Ozoroveki, as well as RH.
Yeah.
These guys have played in multiple competitions, representing Malaysia, and they have been able to achieve quite a lot in Southeast Asia. And with that sort of split, of course, now, Geek Fam, they definitely got themselves some really good game, and so does the likes of Sem9.
Absolutely right. So Geek Fam, Sem9, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, only one could get through. Check out game number 2 here.
Yeah, and over here we saw quite a good take coming from Ozoroveki, the man that I've just mentioned, as he has been able to just pop off on his Ahri time and time again with the Spirit Rush to secure a double kill. Now, this choke point has been looking pretty tough for them to maneuver about, but from the side of S9, they have been able to just pop off. But until this point, Veki, he's being such a nuisance, especially when you have pretty much the Damascus Justice Garrett in your face. Well, what can you do when you are silenced not only in-game, but also by this real big fat Garen just stomping your face? So with that, of course, this game itself has been pretty much shut off, and Geek Fam took the initial lead from start all the way to the finish.
Yeah, man, they geeked out. They totally geeked out on Sem9, and Sem9 just could not find anything within themselves to make that comeback, right? And God knows those boys.
That's right, and I definitely feel like this was one of the most intense matchups that we saw. Sem9, they fought back. Now, this is where we have to check this out, because 2-0, that's where you think, oh, they're already done. And this is where they started a dive down bottom lane. And after that, they went to also secure this, well, I want to say Drake, but it's actually a Rip Harold, until Rumple, he flew in with the Sonic. Time, and of course, we also have RH with the big plays coming from his Akali, going in for that quarter that was actually stolen. So, with that, eventually, we have many of these other players out there having a little bit of trouble, but Rumple, time and time again, when it comes down to objective and towards the Baron Pit, he knows how to steal it, but then it wasn't really in their favor because the team fight was pretty much Sem9's to take.
But they just taking that one win, right? And even though God knows they tried, even though we know that they tried, Geek Fam did not want them to try again. Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when Sem9 took that point away, they awoke a sleeping monster within the likes of Geek Fam.
That's right, and this is where Geek Fam once again started off on the right track, and this triple kill that led up to the Quadra has been absolutely a spectacular showing coming out of the ace mid laner of Geek Fam, Ozorobeki. And just goes to show how strong they are, especially when you combine it with another assassin over on towards the Baron lane, with the Shang really playing his heart out. And that knockup coming out of Nyx has been able to just disorientate the entirety of Sem9, and this is where they kind of dropped the ball.
Drop the ball, quite honestly, is a very soft way to put it. Geek Fam literally trampled all over Sem9 in that final match to take the W away for themselves, right? And that series was just so heated because not many people expected Sem3. They expected it to be a clean 3-0, right? But well played to both of those squads.
That's right, and we're going to be moving along to our next qualifiers as we'll be seeing another two teams joining along ranks. As speaking of ranked, we got Eminence Raptors versus RTZ on the rank on their second attempt.
Yeah, and this is what's beautiful about the Mobile Open. You go in there, you lose your opportunity, you don't get through, you come back and you try once again, and that's exactly what RTZ Underranked did.
Exactly, and also the spirit of competitiveness, integrity, where, you know, if you were to go down, you can start it all over again. And what a run this was as we focus on towards this steal coming out of OWO as Mats. They were fighting tooth and nail for this Elder Cloud Drake, and somehow they walked away with it. And well, from there, the comeback is real, ladies and gentlemen. So that was just game number one. We're going to be moving along to game two because that's where things really got very spicy.
Absolutely right. Things started to heat up, and oh, dude, Eminence Raptors, they really got backed into a corner there to go in back for that fight. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, when game number 2 kicked off, you know, both of them, right, they looked so good at the start. They looked so equal at the start, as most of these teams do during the laning phase, but things were to change.
Yeah, and it's all due to this sort of team fight, and you saw the score lines were pretty much like, what, 2 initially, and they just gave chase all the way. And after getting a little bit of that shutdown goal, it was down to Drake here, which we saw them getting pretty much stuck. But at the very end of it all, RTZ has been able to pull it one back. So they get themselves some real good 2-0 lead, and then we go into game number 3.
And what's impressive is the tenacity and the attitude of never ever giving up, right? This is their second time coming back through, and dude, these guys just did not want to acknowledge that the word give up even exists in the dictionary, right? Check out game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
Now, going in towards this third matchup here, we see pretty much of a good take on towards this Drake fight happening over a river, and man, many of these flashes have already been burned out, while RTZ, they also got themselves stuck with the Cataclysm, but yet again, under the tower. So we saw pretty much a really good trade, and an early GA can keep some doctors away. So with that, you see Crown here has been able to pop off, and eventually they catch over on towards many of the members of Eminence Raptor, and yep, they did put off a significant number in terms of this battle, but after all, RTZ a little bit way too strong.
Way too strong. And you can, I mean, maybe in the previous series they weren't that lucky because they came across some pretty tough opponents, but they managed to get it done the second time through. They will move on to the group stages where they will have to meet their adversaries once again, but maybe that time the story is going to end a little bit differently. We will see.
That's right. We're going to be checking out even more of these highlights coming in for our qualifier trees. And on the first series, let's see who we have, man. It's none other than Suhas versus Eminence Raptor. And these guys, like you said, they did not quit. And of course, the patience shows. And with so much of these attempts, finally, they do see the light at the end of the tunnel. But that dive is one of the most beautiful Akali setups that I've seen with perfect execution. Now, this flash overall from the side of the Jarvan has been able to catch not one but two of them, and eventually the rest of the side of Suhas didn't exactly know how to respond when they only have two members scattered across.
And Suhas, for the rest of the game, they tried to play catch-up, but that's all they were doing towards the very end from that point on, right? Playing catch-up. And obviously, Eminence Raptors, they made them pay such a heavy price for that contract.
That's right, and I really do love how some of all these moves have been shot call coming in from Newgate, the jungler that was playing on that Jarvan, because he was the one that actually set a whole lot of the tempo coming in towards the first game. Now, heading in towards game number 2, Eminence Raptor here showed up once more. So why don't we check it out?
Well, Suhas, of course, they tried to take those team fights early, but Eminence Raptors, the way they went in there for those team fights was untouchable, man. They swooped in, cleared house, went back out. They took those Drakes as well, not giving Suhas any opportunities whatsoever, man.
Yeah, and I gotta say that the Orlan Soul didn't really catch too much of a break because there's so many of all these assassins, because it went 3-0. And we're just going to be taking a quick glimpse on how this was achieved. So they did secure the Rift Herald coming in from the side of Suhas. And yet again, this is where the double kill has been able to snowball this lease into an uncontrollable beast. And once that's done, they've already had so much control over the map. And within that 15 minutes, they have been able to reach the Nexus. And, well, that Amumu can only do so much. I guess he will stay as a sad mummy.
I wasn't expecting that. Yes, I guess he will, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Sad together with Suhas, right? But just like what Eminence Raptor has done, just like what RTZ has done, giving up is just not an option, is it? And they can come back in for the next season.
That's right. And speaking of which, in this upcoming qualifiers, we see another rising star, and of course it is a second attempt coming in for Sem9. This time they take on Insomniacs, and just look at that beautiful Monsoon being pulled up by Swak. And fun fact, he doesn't really like being called Swak, so gonna be pronouncing it right this time around. So that Hextech ultimatum locks them in place, and it forces so many of all the players of Insomniacs to just back away. And I love the fact that Galio has been added in this 2.2 patch, and Kaisa has been this very frequent pick where while Rabbit goes in to show what he's got with the kill much early on, and just their enemies being toyed around inside the base, and they kind of had a little bit too much fun by the very end. And yeah, you gotta really love some of all these new emotes that has been added to the game.
The corgi butt, man. I just can't take the corgi butt.
Yeah, I mean, this is real cute. So there's so many more coming up, as every single patch we have something real special out there. But, you know, it wasn't really cute that Sem9 was looking for. They were looking for total domination, and going to game 2 here, facing off against Insomniacs, I think that, you know, it gets a little bit bloodier, but still, they do get quite a number of jobs done. And with the Grand Challenge already being popped upon, Colors did get taken off, and after they find Dan, this was where a lot of all the turrets have been losing HP, and, well, Cataclysm to stealing tough alongside with Flash. I guess members from the side of Sem9 were just way to prepare for this one.
Way to prepare is an understatement, right? They annihilated Insomniacs, and Insomniacs didn't stand a chance, man. I mean, they did try to fight back. That there was that point where there was 7-1 turret takedown, and Insomniacs they tried their level best to make that comeback in, and just one too many mistakes, because when Sem9 just pushed them towards that edge already, they got Insomniacs in that perfect position, right? And they just panicked and made all of those unnecessary pushes.
That's right, and we do see a really heavy dive-centric composition, especially when Corki brings in the big package. So going in towards one of the last few clips that we do have, of course, we will have Sem9 here having pretty much a beautiful slicing maelstrom that comes out from the cannon, but he's being left all alone, and we saw pretty much a couple of all these interesting pickoffs happening across the river, and you saw that Jarvan just flashed out in time. Well, not exactly Jarvan, it's actually going to be Xin Zhao, also another Demacian, and what did I tell you about Wild Rabbit? This guy knows how to hop around and secure kills after kills, getting another triple, and with that, we see pretty much the Caress coming out of RRH just to get himself out of a very sticky situation. So with more of these members coming right through, this was a beautiful one coming from the cannon, as it has been able to just give a little bit of breathing space for the likes of Insomniacs.
Well, Insomniacs will have some trouble sleeping after that, but I think that's going to be good, because that just gives them more Wild Rift time.
I guess so.
When they come back in the next season, maybe we will see exactly what good no sleep does, I guess.
Yeah, and of course, maybe a little bit of change of name will be beneficial for not only the sake of health, but yeah, for competitive play. Nah, just kidding. You know,
Nah,
Insomniacs.
don't change your name. Come back in season 2. We want to see that comeback, right? Because if you don't, stick to the name, we won't know. I don't even know what I'm blabbering on. Series number 4, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This was the qualifier 4, and 2 more squads squeezed their way through. This time it was LinkX Esports taking on Impact, and Impact just didn't really, make much of an impact, I would say.
I gotta say, it was very much straightforward, and you see the coordination coming in through this team fight was impeccably done, as you gotta give credit to Emotion, because he secured quite a number of MVPs throughout the entirety of the series.
And Black Cat 69, oh, dude, the whole X Esports squad was just so ferocious throughout the whole way. And we did see Azrix as well as Waka Waka kind of, stage a great fight. And whenever they tried to stop their enemies, right, and the jungler was just crazy in this match, by the way, Contra.
I gotta say that both sides really have strong junglers, especially for the side of Team Impact. They were a little bit more team fight oriented. As you can see from here, they started losing out, and initially they were dominating the previous ones, and this is where this Drake battle ended up with the entirety of the side of Impact getting aced out, and well, after that ace, they just storm right through, and of course, eventually secure the game. And before that, just look at this 1 versus 3 scenario, because Emotion, he actually survived. Like, he just waited till 1 HP and the Dream to flash away. He's like, I know you guys can't do it. And well, initially I was thinking about the Drake, but this is where it really went out of control, especially when this bait happened with the Baron here, and Impact thought, okay, they had to commit, but they kind of pulled the trigger slightly way too early.
And Emotion was the star player that literally played with the emotions of all of the other, opponents, right? And the only reason why he got to play with their emotions was because this guy was just so freaking difficult to kill.
Exactly.
We saw him flash away from situations that you should not be able to survive.
Yeah, and what on earth are you thinking about chasing a tank, Gragas? Like, it takes forever to kill, especially with a lot of all these buffs to all the tank items out there. I know your pain, summoners. So with that, we're going to be going into game number 2, because this time around, I believe Emotions didn't get to play his signature Gragas. Instead, he chases people down with an axe, coming with Olaf there, and of course, slamming him down whenever he gets the Ragnarok up available, and the Undertow really packs a punch.
Yeah, and this time Azurus as well as Kaido, they kind of stepped up for the side of Impact, and they were doing the damage, but no matter what they tried, you know, it always just seemed like Link-X was just a couple of steps ahead.
Yeah, and I gotta say, for the side of Devil X, he's been doing so much, but this was quite a clutch play coming from the side of 69 because he's only got a little bit of health left, popping that barrier just at the nick of time. And man, this was a hectic one, but look at the back though. There was a steal that came in from the Mega Inferno Bomb from Ziggs to actually steal the Drake away. And yeah, you get this snowballing Jinx that's going to tear them down eventually. But Tutong, you know, he tries his best to clutch it and still makes it out, especially when he hits that stasis enchant.
Yeah, and they went in there for the Infernal Drake as well. And the continuous, you know, attempts coming in here for those steal, and multiple times we did see that coming through, but this time around it was Link-X Esports who got the Drake, and that just gave them enough firepower to hold back the players of Impact. And as they went in there for that final push for that inhibitor, dude, they was just so unstoppable.
Exactly, and this is where it feels extremely bad for the side of IMP because they were leading already. You can see the goal scorer, but that steal coming in from Emotion as he flashes over the wall, and he landed that undertow. That was true damage.
The steal that we were talking about, right? That was like 2 steals, I think they you know, the audience saw in that highlight reel. Yeah, there were more in the series. It was absolute craziness between the two. But Link-X Esports just showing that they were always the better side, always being able to take the opportunities and turn it in their way.
That's right. We're going to be looking at game tree because Impact, yeah, they definitely had some standout performance here, and it started with this solo kill from Emotion, which, you know, we just got into the game, and yeah, it just happened. Now, this dive was a little bit of blunder coming in from Rojak as well. He's also another veteran player that comes into the scene, but this dive, they should have been worried that they're facing against a Wukong in the jungle. So once he's got his cycle, he's a little bit hard at the moon. This was where he actually pulled off a sick flash when he was having this little health left under the turret.
And as they went in there, the Rift Herald got stolen away as well by Impact. And things, you know, at this point really looked like it was going to go their way. But, you know, Link-X Esports, as usual, they always manage to turn things around and catch up. And it was one thing. But as they moved in towards that match, things continuously got harder.
Yeah, and this was a very interesting dive coming in from a Tristana because usually you don't really see marksmen do that, but that shockwave itself disoriented many inside of the team fight. Yes, there was that disengage, but that Tristana just consistently being chased down by members from the side of LE. So with that, this was the costly play that came out.
Very, very costly play. But well played by, you know, the players of Link-X Esports. They tried to go in there for that engage, but the response that came back in there from the Impact team and how they took that fight was the one that really made me question what was going through their minds.
Yeah, and well, all they had to do was just back away. It's okay. You can let him off. He's got the GA. Yes, he's going to be popped, but trying to save Private Wukong right here takes the entirety of the team down. And with that, it was a Baron call, and then that's where we have pretty much the final nail into the Nexus to, of course, end the game. And we're going to be moving along to another clip that we do have.
Yeah, the qualifier is number 4, ladies and gentlemen, boys. So it's between Insomniacs as well as Team Rider coming back through. Didn't sleep at all, my friend.
That's right, and I guess they had a lot more extra time to prepare if that's the case. And we saw a beautiful True Shot Barrage connecting, and this is where you see another spectacular Kaisa play coming out of Latte. And this is also where Devil X secures a double kill on top of the Braum as well as Bang.
And Team Rider did manage to kind of, push all of those players back. I mean, we saw Swox as well as Devil X coming in from Insomniacs, and the type of damage that they were doing was quite ever Dusk as well as Buck stepped into the field. They managed to take it back for the squad multiple times.
That's right, and a very interesting reaction coming in with the Cataclysm, and this things get pretty hot, especially with that steal coming out. Well, I can't really call it a steal because eventually the Germans still secured it, but at what cost is the question.
Yeah, and they went in there for the commit, and I think even whilst shoutcasting this together, Contra, we talked about this. The commit was just a little too aggressive, and multiple times they paid for it, right? Because League of Legends, if you take a quick look at the PC version versus the mobile, the mobile scene just grants you way more team fights, right? And a lot of
duration.
Yeah, and a lot of these squads just go in for that push so early, but the mistakes happen there as well.
That's right, and we will look at the game once again, and of course we can elaborate about a little bit. That's going to take quite a long time as we focus back on towards Team Rita here, because this was where Team Rita, they had some interesting openings, especially coming out of this big Galio play of Devil X. So his Galio was all over the map, and they get catches as well as dives all over the place. So they do have, of course, a couple of all these casualties going around, but this was where you see him just taunting out members from the likes of, well, I believe the side of the blue team.
And Devil X, when he swooped in like a hero, you remember those spots, right, Contra? Nobody could touch any one of his team members, man. This guy was like a crazy support, just swooping in and out. And Zaphiroth as well. Nobody could slay Zaphiroth.
Exactly, and King Gerby definitely had a hunch that he can go on that 1v1, and yeah, Galio just coming in to swing right by, especially on this few moments, and what they needed to do just to take Galio out first, but that will be real difficult to do because, like you said, Zaphiroth was all over the place, dropping its signature glacial fissures at the right time, and yet again, he survives. Yep, those shields always up online.
Yeah, always, right? And not only did he survive, he used this thinking shield to continuously protect his team members. And, Team Rider just could not find those openings to approach. And at the end of it, the Nexus just went down. Insomniacs. I wonder, did they manage to get it done at the end? Or did they have to wait for the next season?
Well, of course, I don't want to be giving too much of spoilers. We'll go through it together, of course. Now, they always say the Brahms quote is, the heart is always the strongest muscle. So, did they have enough muscles to actually take this game? Let's check this one out. So, we start off here with a glacial fissure. That's why I came up with that opening, as this was where it was interesting with that Lux pick that sees them getting quite a lot of objectives being secured, and we've also seen the likes of Insomniacs having a little bit of a fumble, but it was due to some big plays coming out of Camille that has been able to set the tempo right, and then a little bit of a dive coming out as they'll be able to take down the Wukong, but for Latte, he's been just getting clipped for a few times in the early game, but there will be a big payback at the very end. Yeah,
and Galio just wasn't able to get the damage done, wasn't able to go in there for those saves like, he went in previously, because Devil X, they really found that counter for him in this game. But no matter what they did, they kind of focused in too much on just Devil X, because Swox went in there as well. Notification together with Zaphiroth, they were still going in for that slay.
Exactly, and we see so many kills going over on towards Latte, and I do believe, if I recall correctly, he was also one of the first out here to get a penta kill. So, speaking of which, it happens right now as you see the Killer Instinct diving over the back line, and members from the side of King Gatsby and co, they were just running back, and when Gatsby was the last man standing, there was just enough damage to secure all 5 kills in the hands of Latte. So we better keep an eye out on Insomniacs because we saw a major improvement when it comes down to the way that they've been playing as a team. And man, when you lose sleep for something you love, that's passion.
And when you join the ESL Mobile Open, you don't have to wait for the second season. Look at how many of these squads came back in there for the repeat. Look at how many of them failed and then came back in. So did Insomniacs make it through, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Or do they have to come back in Season 2? Let's take a quick look.
That's right, this was the very final game, and well, it was a beautiful steal that comes out as Insomniacs. As we saw, Team Rider, they did as much as they could, but this was pretty much 2 members of Team Rider that has been in between no man's land for a little bit. But you see Devil X, he tries to juggle it off. He's playing on the Diana, and it didn't really work all too well. And this game was one of the closest that we've seen that teleport comes in, and that flank happened, especially with Diana absorbing everybody, clumping them together. And this grand challenge has been the perfect one as they drop both Latte as well as that.
Yeah, man, and Lotte at that point, right, was wondering exactly what happened, because they obviously did try to make a comeback in here right after, right, but it just wasn't that easy. The pressure just kept coming back on through, and at that point was when they got the ace once again.
That's right, and this was also a very crucial moment as we saw many of the likes of Insomniacs. They were having a little bit of a push and pull fight, and they knew when exactly to come back in for the counter engage. And once members from inside of Team Rider was a little bit off position, that's where they strike the hardest. So with that, that will be pretty much all the clips that we do have for the League of Legends Wild Rift. And of course, we're going to be speaking about who qualifies into the C Icon Series Malaysia itself. So let's have a look once again. This will be your top 8 qualified teams that will be playing in the group stage format.
Yeah, boy, Bajaya Dragons, Geek Fam, RTZ, Underrank Homie, Eminence Raptors, 79 LinkX Esports, as well as Insomniacs, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, will step on through. If you have not signed up just yet, if you have not started climbing the ladder just yet, let these squads go in there and inspire you to get that done.
That's right, and you know, back in the days, just a fun fact as well, the very first esports title that I was really invested in is definitely League of Legends. I used to compete in my college days, and I can't imagine if Wild Rift came out much early on, would I have been competing with Ozoroveki?
I'm pretty sure you would have, right? And this just makes me recall one of the stories that, you know, ESL, and I think you were in the conversation as well, as to why, what they found out when they started this, I believe in NA, right? That when in previous, you know, tournaments and all in the esports world, before mobile gaming became a thing, the type of demographic that you used to come across in tournaments were always the same type of guys. You know, you could already kind of know who you're going to see there. But when the mobile scene came into the picture and they went for the grand finals, the inclusion from everyone from the community were there. Women, men, kids, the older generation, and I believe the oldest one that they had there was 64 years old, I believe, or something along those lines, right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Mobile gaming, a lot of people are saying it's not a thing. Yeah, hell yeah, it's a thing. Not only is it a thing, it is a thing of the future, which is gonna blow the whole gaming scene up.
That's right, and it's of course open to everyone, regardless of race, gender, or anything that you believe in. And of course, we got to speak about one particular thing, which is what's happening over on towards the C Icon Series in Thailand. So news is that we've already got 6 teams that are qualified in Thailand. And of course, this starts off with the Malaysian side, which we've already covered. We got Bajaj Dragons, Geek Fam, RTZ, Underrank, and the rest. Now, this also means that there's going to be another week of action where we will be crowning another 2 teams. So for now, we got Invade Esports, Dion Strategist, King of Gamers, Evos, Baram United, as well as Taro.
Yeah, so 2 more to join these ranks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And then the group stages for Thailand will kick off as well for us to crown the champions of Thailand.
That's right, and knowing the Thai region as a powerhouse back in even the PC side, I believe they come in with a wealth of experience. Now, for the side of Evo's Esports right here, they do have a very notable name in the form of G4. And I believe even in teams like Invade, KOG, they do have a whole lot of veterans in the scene. But I'm waiting to see who will join the ranks of the best of Thailand.
Am I supposed to be making my predictions now? I think I won't just yet, Contra. Evos. Nah. We will see. We will see if or not that happens, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Let's check out the upcoming tournament dates so you guys know exactly what to mark on your calendar. 13th of April all the way to the 6th of May, we've got the ladder number 1 for Brawl Stars, and then we'll drop into ladder 2, 11th of May till the 3rd of June.
That's right, and we do also have Legends of Runeterra. I know that some of you guys are excited for this one. It starts from 16th April to 9th of May for the first bout. Ladder number 2 will begin from May of the 14th until 6th of June. Now, we do also have PUBG Mobile joining in over on April all the way to May. So mark your calendars right there. It's 20th of April, 27th as well as 4th of May for Cup 2 all the way to Cup number 4.
And these are your broadcast dates, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. If you want to catch all of that action, the Icon series for League of Legends Wild Rift, the 19th, 22nd, 26th, as well as the 29th of April. And for May, we've got the 3rd, 6th, 10th, as well as the 13th. Brawl Stars will be coming to you on the 7th of May, just like Asphalt Legends. And on the 29th, as well as the 30th of May, PUBG Mobile.
Well, I'm pretty sure that my calendar will be pretty much filled up with a lot of all these matches. I believe that we'll be casting some of it as well. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us in the future broadcasts to come. So we always will be welcoming you guys to catch every single moment possible.
And if you don't, sorry, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Asphalt Legends will be on the 15th of May and not the 7th. My apologies. We will get our graphics guy fired later on, okay?
That's a little bit too harsh, yeah?
What I was about to say was, don't worry if you cannot catch all of these dates, because just like what you've witnessed today, the mobile recap show with Contra as well as the Moustache show will continue, and we will get you caught up with all of the action at the end of each and every week.
That's right, and of course, make sure, show us some love, and do drop us a little bit of a like as well as follow on our social media platform, starting off with ESL Asia and then to us. And of course, what's your page? Go ahead, shout it out loud.
The Mustachio Gamer. People call me the Mustachio AJ. The Mustachio Gamer on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and the one and only ContraCast.
That's right, and if you need the Instagram, just take out the cast. It's just Contra.
The Mustachio's only on Facebook. I'm an old man.
Well, don't worry. I don't count you as a boomer just about yet.
Not yet, eh?
Yet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I guess with that insult to my age, I will have to now sign off with whatever dignity I have left in me.
Well, of course, it's been a pleasure joining alongside you. And, well, hopefully you don't take that too hard.
It's all good, man. I'll get you back next week. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, once again, my name is AJ and I'm the Mustachio with the one and only Contra. We'll catch you on the next mobile recap.
Before we jump into the next one, here's a quick reminder for all of you mobile gamers out there. The ESL Mobile Open is just around the corner, so head over to Twitter right now and get all of those details. Tell your friends, build a team, and earn a spot in the finals.
Feel the lights, see the stage, hear the vibe. Pumped up to get ready for the fight. Big dreams, one chance, be the star. I'm the winner coming out of the dark.
Step out as a motivator. Let them know that the weight's up. That's how we know when we level up. Ay, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? You know we fall and we get up. Level up. All we know about is level up. Are we ready not to level up? It's time, get up.
Back against the wall, still I'm standing tall. Know about the ball, I got my fan with me. That's how we know when we level up. Yeah, that's how we know when we level up.
Level up. All we know about is level